Myself Sahil, but before I start my talk, let's thank Chris, Stefan, and Geparik for hosting us on this lovely meetup. And the topic of my talk is the Keycloak monitoring. And I think the previous speakers have already done this stage for us with respect to Keycloak. They mentioned all the things which I'm going to show you guys most probably. So I believe all of you are now familiar with the Keycloak, with Kubernetes, and maybe some of you are deploying Keycloak in Kubernetes also. So we are trying to do the same thing in local setup. So it is pretty much, I would say, 80 to 90% same as you should go in a production. So first, Keycloak monitoring observability in identity planes. That's me, and nothing fancy about me. So the technology stack which we are going to use will deploy everything in our local kind cluster on my local laptop. Nothing like I'm not using any cloud or cloud provider or something like that. Keeping things very simple. So we will install Keycloak and manage its state via Terraform. Like we will create all the clients, users, groups, and then we will install it via Terraform inside our Keycloak, which is running inside a kind cluster. And then we will scrape its metrics, Prometheus, using Prometheus operator. And we will consider two set of metrics. One is a JVM related metrics, which comes by default with the Keycloak. And the other one is SPI, like it's like internal metrics of Keycloak, like what is happening inside Keycloak. How many users are making a request to per client, how many logins have been done in a Keycloak, how many wrong registrations have been done in Keycloak. And then we might try to get some logs. Traces, I can do it, but it's slightly tricky. It doesn't make sense in a Keycloak to do tracing because Keycloak is just making a request to your DB, but it is doable. So visualization, we will be using Grafana dashboards and alert manager for any potential errors. We will see how it works together. I will be using code-centric Helm chart. Because Bitnami is now behind paywall, so it is not possible to get the stable image. Otherwise, if you have your own static Red Hat based image, you can use that one. You can just use code-centric Helm chart and slap your image on top of that. That is also doable. So operational pipeline would be like we'll spin up the cluster. We'll include some batteries like some CRDs, Istio to expose our Keycloak so that all the other tools can talk to Keycloak for SSO login and a bunch of other things. And we will install it via Helm and customization. Then we will configure Keycloak with Terraform. So I have already TF wars file where I have defined, okay, I want to create 3 clients, like one for Argo, one for Grafana, one for Vault, and a bunch of other things. And then we will instrument everything, because when you're deploying things in a cloud native world, what do you need? You need lots of glue, because you have to glue many things together. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So we'll do that one. Now, what we are going to capture in this talk from a Keycloak. So we'll capture login and login errors, like if someone is trying to DDoS our Keycloak based on fake request and everything, and how many register and update profile if user is making some sort of event in our Keycloak. And then there are certain admin related events. If someone is making a request, updating some realm, or making any realm related update in our Keycloak, we can monitor that one. And if any new client is being created or deleted, these kind of metrics which we can get with our SPI metric. So now testing the waters. So what we will do once everything is done, once we set up everything, then we will fuzz our Keycloak. We'll send valid request, we'll send invalid request, and then we must see everything in our Grafana dashboard. So we'll configure the baseline metrics for successful SSO handshakes. Then we will send some invalid requests just to ensure that yes, our setup is actually working as expected or not. And then tracing, I would say, doesn't make sense. So shall we start? And if you guys think that I'm diverting from the topic or you are not catching up, then just hold me. I'll make sure that we are all on the same page. So while you people were having a short break, I just did this kind of thing. I'll be using lots of aliases because aliases make my life simple. I don't want to try out all the command. So every code is on the GitHub. I'll share it with you guys. So KCCL means kind create cluster. Okay. So and then KNO Kubernetes get nodes -wide. So these kind of things, my cluster is ready. Now what we are going to do? So first we will install some batteries, like because we want to monitor our Keycloak with the Prometheus operator, we need to have some CRDs. So we created a namespace, label that with Istio because we are exposing Istio because Nginx is not natively supported in Kubernetes. So I'm using Istio. Now Prometheus, if you see CRDs, now we will, in previous talk, they told that we can use cloud native Postgres. So I'll be using CNPG, which is cloud native Postgres CRDs. And then we will deploy our Postgres cluster. So this one is getting installed. If we go to the code, so Keycloak Postgres, bunch of things, DB secret. You're not supposed to push everything to GitHub. So I'm just doing my job. So there is a simple gateway and customization tools. What I'm going to install, creating namespace for that kind of thing. Pair authentication you don't need. This is the actual creating the cluster with the local storage with the 1G. You should not have in production with the 1 GB of space for your DB. And the virtual service, which is integrating with the Istio to expose my Keycloak over a certain endpoint. But before getting into further details, so we need to tell, because every service is running in its own pod. So we need to tell Kubernetes that service A wants to talk to Keycloak over some DNS. So this means we need to make some adjustments in our core DNS, which is the DNS service provider for our Kubernetes. So what I'm going to do, so this is the alias which I'm going to do, core DNS CM. So I'm going to do this kind of thing. I have this config map for core DNS. I'm just mentioning everything which I'm going to expose. Like our Keycloak will run on sso.local.io. Let's say my Grafana will run on the dashboards.local.io. Otherwise, if you're running everything in the same cluster, it's very easy. You can use Kubernetes Service DNS. But if you want to expose some DNS endpoint, then you need to tell your DNS provider that this is the service which I want to expose. Otherwise, it has no idea where to expose. So what I'm going to do, so it is simply restarting my core DNS pods. After that, I need to make a, because I will be using my local laptop because everything is running in a kind cluster. So I need to make my etc host file updated also, so that I want to access these kind of things. So the same entry points are here also. All the, you're not supposed to, you should have only what you need. But right now my setup is slightly complex, so I have everything in one shot. Okay. Otherwise, we just need a dashboard as dashboard for Grafana and SSO for Keycloak and secrets for Vault if needed. So right now, these kind of things are done. Prometheus CRDs is installed. Cloud native CRDs are installed. Now I need to install external secrets because I need to pull secrets from Vault. I will install Vault, but that's out of the scope of this conversation. Just because everything is tightly integrated with my local setup, I'm using Grafana. Grafana is using Keycloak for SSO, and for that we need to fetch secrets from Vault. That's why I'm installing external secrets. Otherwise, if you have a hard-coded secrets in your YAML files, then you don't need external secrets. After that, I'll install Istio. Istio has 3 components. The first one is you need to install the CRDs for Istio. Second one, you need to install Istio daemon, which is having Istio control plane, Istio pilot, and a bunch of other things. And then you need to install Istio gateway that will integrate with your virtual service and a gateway. Are we on the same page or getting complex? Okay. So if you see, Istio is getting installed. Now we need to, cloud native CRDs are done, installed already. So we will install Keycloak Postgres. So it is just doing some magic around there. ideally you should not you should get store your secrets in a vault somewhere, but I am doing because my vault is not set up yet, so that's why I have manually created these kind of secrets. Otherwise, once this thing is done, then we need to install our Keycloak. Once Keycloak is installed, then we need to install create all the clients, users, groups. We can do it manually, but it doesn't make sense when you have tools around you, either via Kafka, Keycloak, config CLI, or you can use Terraform, or depending upon how you want to install. So it will take some time. Meanwhile, I will also install Grafana Postgres, because we are using Postgres for Grafana to store the state of our dashboards and everything. So same setup, nothing fancy. So once these things are almost done, so if you see, so our Keycloak DB is almost ready. We can check the logs, and we should be, a database system is ready to accept the connections. Now, if we go to our Keycloak, this is the repo which we have to take care of. So let's start from values file. Ignore this one, just in case if you want to do auto scaling, bunch of other things. We can do that if time permits. Otherwise, I'm just creating a one simple replica. Nothing fancy here. Liveness probes and startup and readiness probes. I'm just creating a service with the command by default. This is the database which I'm going to create, because Keycloak DB read write, because Keycloak will write to DB. So otherwise, if we go here, so we Cloud Native creates a read-only service, read-write. It's like a similar setup what we have in our cloud providers, like one master DB and the other are read replicas. So apart from this thing, I'm not using ingress, so that is enabled. These are the environment variables which I'm going to pass. That it took me a lot of time to figure out, and I had a very discussion on a Keycloak GitHub issues. Okay, how to make it properly, what environment variables we need to pass to make it happen locally on a kind cluster, so that you can access Keycloak based on your DNS endpoint. So these kind of things. So I'm hard coding this one, bootstrap admin and admin 123, and these kind of things you can ignore right now. So this is the container which I'm going to, this is the extension which I'm going to install in a Keycloak for internal metrics, or whatever is happening inside Keycloak. If you go, if you see here, this is the basic Keycloak extensions, where you can get all the extensions provided by different third-party developers or companies. So we will be using this one, Metrics SPI. So I didn't want to build a Docker image out of that, because it's already been there. So I'm just using an extra init container. So before my Keycloak pod shows up, this extra init container will automatically download the jar and put it in /opt Keycloak /providers, so that when my Keycloak starts, it knows what providers it does have. But if you have your custom providers, then you need to bake an image and have your own. Otherwise, you can store your all providers in S3 somewhere, and then do the same approach, so that you don't need to bake an image. I'm just using a custom image and adding my provider on top of that. And these are the Prometheus rules which I want to have. Let's say if I'm bombarding my Keycloak with the random 50x request or something, then my Keycloak should automatically go from pod 1 to pod 2, depending upon I have auto scaling enabled or not. For that, we need to install metrics server, which will get the metrics from the pod and send it to Kubernetes HPA. All clear until this point? So same fancy rule, destination rule. This does not make sense. So the gateway, this is pointing to our Istio, that I want to expose sso.local go to Istio on a port 80. Otherwise, Istio has the two port 80 and port 443. 443, then I need to pass on my custom certificates to Keycloak, which doesn't make sense in local setup. And then I'm creating a namespace, peer authentication, just in case if you want, I just want to disable all the mutual TLS between every pod, because then it becomes so convoluted things in the entire namespace. And then I'm creating a virtual service, which is simply pointing to my Keycloak HTTP service. So now Keycloak. So
did you enable any of the default metric endpoints from Keycloak itself? Or you only use the one in the plugin?
Everything is in the plugin, and Keycloak automatically exports JMX metrics over certain port. I'm just using a service monitor to get the metrics from that port. I'm not enhancing anything extra. I'm just downloading the SPI for internal metrics, and by default, all the metrics which Keycloak automatically provides natively. So if you see here, so these are the two ports. So this extension which we are using, it has a very, it exposes SPI metrics on port 80, but the JMX related metrics are exposed on port 9000. So that's the only thing which we need to pay attention right now. So something is happening in Keycloak. So now Keycloak is a Java-based system, so it takes time, sweet time to start. So we have to bear with that. So if you see, I have two containers. One is the Istio proxy. The other one is the actual Keycloak. And in it, the container, it just pops up and goes once it has done its job. So I'm expecting that this jar is always available. Just in case if it doesn't available, then my Keycloak is doomed. So now we will be able to see Keycloak in some time in our browser over the DNS endpoint sso.local.io. 3280 is my custom port because I cannot use port 80 on my local system. So I mapped Istio's 80 port to my 32080 port. So that kind of thing is here itself in Istio. By the way, entire this repo is on my GitHub, so you can explore whatever you need. So if you go here in this one, I'm simply using this one. I'm exposing HTTP 2 port 80, target port 8080 and node port 32080 and port 443. I'm just exposing that one. So nothing fancy over there. So, okay. So demo is working, I think, so far. So initializing master realm. So we should be able to see something. Lovely. So my admin bootstrap password is 123, admin 123. So we do have something. That's a great news so far. So right now only master realm. So now we need to configure our custom realms, users, groups, and everything. By default, it's a practice that you should not touch your master realm. Whatever you want to do, create your own realm. It's like a own namespace and do whatever you want to do in that namespace. So now I'm heading to my, let me destroy whatever I have created randomly previously. So now we will configure all the things in our Keycloak. So Keycloak Terraform. So these are the things which we are going to, so I'm just passing my Keycloak URL to Terraform. Over what endpoint you have to configure Keycloak. Passing username and password, you should not do that. I did. And then I'm telling, okay, create one realm with the name as a platform. And then I am telling, okay, create all these clients, whatever I want to create. So I exposed everything on a custom endpoint on a DNS. And so that it becomes very easy. When you have a local setup, you can simply say, okay, Kubernetes service DNS, but things become messy when you have different accounts and every account is having some service which is exposed over some DNS, and then you have to do cross-linking and everything. So you need some common endpoint where everything can be. So I tried my demo on that perspective. Otherwise, I can do simply keycloak.svc.cluster.local, then it works because everything is in the same cluster. So these kind of the clients which I am creating. And after that, we are creating 3 groups. Then I'm creating realm roles. Then I'm grouping them together. Like a DevOps should have admin and console admin, and engineering should have read write, and data should have read only. And then I'm creating 3 users or maybe 4 users depending upon what I want to do. Until this, everything is clear? Good. So let's do plan. Let's do apply. So it should create all the things what I defined in my TF vars in Keycloak. Once that is done, then I will install Vault. Vault will have, because I'm not passing any secret, everything is randomly generated. Okay. So let's see. Good. We do have a platform realm, and it should have all the clients. So far, so good. Are you able to see all the clients? And then it should have realm rules, as I said. It should have users. It should have relevant groups. And if I go to DevOps, so Shahil, me, I'm a DevOps. Okay. And the metrics which we are going to cover in our Keycloak, we need to tell which events. This is where you have to define the SPI jar file or the SPI metric extension I downloaded. I need to tell this realm should get the jar file or the SPI metric should get events from this realm. That's why I have to define. Otherwise, if you just disable this one, it will not have the internal metrics. So we need to define this one, that I want to have this kind of setup. Now we will install. Now if you see, it has created all the random generated passwords and everything for me. Ideally, if I am a Keycloak operator in my company, I should just add a new user, or even if you are using some Microsoft Azure directory and everything, once a user logs in over there, I should have automatically a user. And if I'm creating a custom user via Terraform, I share this password, one-time password with them, and I can set, okay, upon the next login, they can change the password. So those kind of things can be done easily via Terraform itself. So we need to configure, because now we need to install Grafana. Prometheus, I think we have Prometheus. Nope. So let's install Prometheus. CRDs we installed. Now we will just install Prometheus. So I'm creating a Slack webhook for my, just in case if I have to trigger some alerts and everything. So I am creating all these Prometheus operator. I'm using no fancy files, no custom config, just basic things. And then I am exposing my metrics over custom DNS, which is metrics.local.io. So if you see here, KVS, I'm creating my virtual service endpoint for my Prometheus service, so that my Grafana can reach out to Prometheus for getting metrics on the dashboards over this endpoint. Otherwise, I can provide Prometheus service endpoint also. So now Prometheus is done. Now we need to install Vault, so that whenever our Grafana shows up, I can log in via SSO. I will try to log in with the different users also. Like let's say if I'm Alice belongs to data team or engineering team, then I should not be able to tamper some dashboards. Those kind of things we will do that. But for that, because everything is in a Keycloak, so we need to install Vault, and then Grafana will fetch the secrets from Vault. So for that thing, so these are the clients which we created in our Keycloak. So you're not supposed to do these kind of things, what I'm doing.
I'm sorry, I have to leave.
No. So we will do these kind of things. Sorry. So what I'm doing here, I'm simply creating Vault and passing an extra container to Vault that spins up all the things for Vault. How many of you have worked with Vault so far? Yeah. So it's another job, I would say, managing Vault with the Kubernetes and with the Keycloak and a bunch of other things. So what we are trying to do here, this is a plain vanilla setup of Vault, nothing fancy. I'm just exposing some telemetry metrics for Vault because I want to measure Vault also, or its metrics. Apart from that, I'm just passing an extra init container. This init container is already using Vault image, and it is just creating all the roles and policies. So these are the environment variables which I defined. Okay, create this one. Otherwise, you can go to Vault and then create those kind of secrets manually. But I don't want to do that because I'm lazy. So I just passed everything over there. And then I'm checking whether Vault is initialized for the very first time or not. If it's initialized for the very first time, this means it has to create everything from scratch. And then I am creating some paths in Vault. And then I am creating some policies in Vault and assigning those policies to subgroups and via service account mounting, if you people know how Vault works in a Kubernetes world. So nothing fancy over there. These are the policies which I am creating, and then I'm defining those policies to respective Vault KV paths. After all those things, I'm enabling OIDC login in Vault also, because I do not want users to remember passwords, because no one should remember password. Okay. And then these are the service telemetry for this Vault, but it is none of our business for now. Now it should work. Let's see. It is doing something. So if you see here, my Vault should have extra init container, but it is spinning up right now. How many of you do the same thing what I'm doing? Okay, being impatient sometimes. Why it is not working? Yeah, it is doing something. So it is just creating, storing the root token, and then there was another project for me, like I'm copying the token and saving it in min.io, something like that, and then I'm just creating some KV paths, and then just creating some bunch of random secrets over there, and then these are the OIDC policies which I am creating. So by default, now my Vault is up and running, and I should be able to see Vault. Okay, that's nice. Okay, so ideally in a production sort of setup, you should face this kind of thing. So the moment you do this kind of thing, let's say if I don't press any role, I should be granted default role. Default role is like I should be, now my Vault is connected with the Keycloak, so I'm pointing over there. So let's say I am Shahil, and though I am a part of DevOps group, but I did not mention any role in Vault, so I should not be able to see anything. Okay, but the moment I mention that I belong to DevOps group, I should be able to see everything. Admin, I should be able to see everything. So all our SSO related secrets are being stored here. So for my Grafana setup, I should be having Grafana secret here, client ID, and a client secret. So if you see PVZA. So Now until this point, Prometheus is done, Keycloak is done, Grafana is done. Now we need to, what is pending? No, nothing is pending, I think. We need to install Grafana only. Grafana PG is there, we installed. So we will just install Grafana. And if we go here, Grafana, nothing fancy, same values file. And ingress is false. I'm not using that one. I'm pulling secret from environment secret, Grafana SSO secret. For this, I'm using an external secret. And this is the external secret which we are going to create. And this external secret is pointing to Vault, which we just created. And it is having a role, and that role has a policy. And that policy has an access to certain path, which is Grafana SSO/Grafana. So this means Grafana can only see secrets for Grafana, not for others. So likewise, and then I'm creating an external secret, which is having these sort of secrets. And this one. And then I'm just doing some extra init container for DB check, whether DB is ready or not. And then I'm passing Grafana INI file. And this is the secret magic for SSO. I believe in Argo CD and bunch of other tools also. So this is where I am defining. These are the groups which you are passing from Keycloak. Because the moment you land upon a Grafana page or Grafana DNS, Grafana would pop up to Keycloak. Keycloak will authenticate you and send a group name in the scope, and then Grafana will validate it. Okay, this the token the response which I got from Keycloak is having admin group, so I should assign this user admin related stuff. And then yeah, I am configuring bunch of things over there. So Prometheus metrics by default, I'm including data source over there. Like I want to include this data source. My Loki will set up on logs.local.io. And yeah, these are the Kafka dashboards. It doesn't make sense. But these are the dashboards which we are interested in. So these are the two dashboards. The first one is the Keycloak, the dashboard ID, and the revision. They keep changing depending upon how actively they are enhancing the dashboard. The second one is the Keycloak SPI metrics, which we downloaded as a jar in our init container. The first one is the JMX. The second one is SPI events, which are happening inside our Keycloak. So let's check. Grafana is running. Dashboards. Lovely. This one is also working. So I should not be able to pass any username and password. So the moment I do SSO, because I'm already logged in a vault via SSO, so I should be able to see my user. So you see. And if we see here, we are an admin user. So I can do everything, whatever I want. But if I open incognito, let's say, so it is redirecting me to Keycloak. So now Keycloak is asking me what sort of your credentials. Let's try with Alice. So I don't know what team Alice belongs to, but I think she belongs to our team. Okay, so she's having only viewer related role. Okay, so until this point, everything is done. Grafana is done, Prometheus, Keycloak, and all the batteries included. Now we need to check what are the metrics here. So these are the Keycloak metrics which we are interested in. But we did not install Loki because we need to check the logs also sometimes. So nothing fancy. I will not go through that kind of setup, but that's just install Loki and it will do all the things. And if you see here, but otherwise, these are the JMX metrics by default we are getting from Keycloak. So you can set up alerts on top of all these things, whether system CPU metrics. If you want to have, like my CPU load would go more than 80% or something like that, then I should get an alert. But I was mostly interested in what is happening inside Keycloak. because I can get system level notifications by other services, but what is happening inside, that is more of interest to me. So that's why we are using this custom SPA metrics. So if you see here, let's say last 5 minutes, we do have only platform realm. In platform, we only log two realms for now, Grafana and a secrets. So we get the realm metrics for those there, and there is absolutely no login errors, nothing else. So meanwhile, shall we fuzz our Keycloak? Activate. It's a Python simple code, vibe coding these days. Everyone is doing. So I thought I should also do. So let's fuzz KC. So sorry. So we are simply fuzzing with a bunch of requests, but it will not work. I'll tell you why it will not work, because it doesn't have the secrets. So my Python code is not integrated with Vault, so it is lacking from. Otherwise, it is sending all the requests, and all the requests, if you see, all are failing. So ideally, we should see all the failed requests in our metrics. Now we started getting different clients, maybe. Yeah. So let's do one thing. Sometimes I forget this kind of things. What was the alias I set for that one? That's another struggle. Anyhow, we'll see. Fast Casey. So this is the Python code, simple. I didn't do that in anything. I just told Gemini. Gemini did everything for me. I just told, and I am going for a walk. Please generate this code for me. And by the time I came back, and it has all the things. So we need to pass all these secrets here, whatever we created, so that our script can make valid and invalid requests to our Keycloak. Now that's what should I do that one? Activate.
Activate fast casing.
No, that's I'm totally clueless now. But let's check in my history. I should be having something. Platform fast. Yes, because I don't want to type everything. So I'm just doing this thing. So, but apart from this thing, we also need to, because our script will use a user to log in into certain client as a valid or invalid user. So we need to pass Bob or any user's valid or invalid request. So far, so good. Let's try. Now, yeah. 13 success request, failure 14. And likewise, we can generate random metrics, and then we should see all the metrics in our Grafana dashboard, hopefully. Yeah, we are able to see some more client IDs. So likewise, if you see, we started seeing some 4x errors, and how many login errors happen on a Realm platform in the last 5 minutes or 15 minutes, depending upon what you are trying to check. Let's stick with the 5. Because I'm not doing any custom registrations, so that's why we are not able to see any registrations, because that would be too overwhelming for my script. But otherwise, that's how you can see nice charts in our Keycloak for a failure or valid or invalid request. Now, likewise, you can also explore logs. I hope our Loki is already connected. But let's check. Data sources. We do have 3 data sources in our Grafana. Check. Yes. Prometheus, we are already, that's why we are seeing the metrics. You wanted to check the logs. Nothing fancy. unknown service, last 5 minutes. Let's see. Service name. I don't know why it is. Let's see. Nope, something is missing then. Is our Loki running properly? Yes. Maybe it takes time to fetch the logs properly. Otherwise, I should see all the naming levels over there, because if you see here, Loki, let's see, I'm simply defining in our Loki config somewhere.
Sorry, I have to.
Yeah, no worries. Yes. Why we are not seeing the logs? I just noticed one thing. We did not install any scraper for logs. In my talk, when I was trying this kind of thing, it was a Promtail, but Promtail has reached end of life. So we need to install some other scraper like OpenTelemetry or anything. So I'll be sticking with the OpenTelemetry. So everything is in an alias in my laptop. So sorry for. So what is happening? OTel will scrape metrics. It will send metrics to Loki, for a Loki act as a log backend, and then we will be seeing all the metrics in our Grafana dashboard. And same for traces. If you are expecting to have traces, then you need to install Tempo, which I don't think so. We can do that if you people have interest, but so if you see, we are going to spend something. So by this way, we are able to see what we needed. Am I right? Or some more expectations are there? This one, and we can generate, if you see here, this is my metrics, Prometheus endpoint. And if you see here, we do have some alerts, like I want to generate an alert, and that alert will come on my Slack channel because I created a Slack webhook by default. Whenever my Keycloak is having 5x sort of things, I should get an alert. Okay, your Keycloak is running, these kind of things. We can do that kind of thing if we wanted to see with the failures. Fast KZ, then it just sends failure request. So this means we can get 500x sort of things. But let's see if we are able to see something in Loki. Yep, something is happening there. So namespace, Keycloak. I see the logs. So by this, you can generate alerts on the basis of logs. Okay, if something is happening over there, you can have all the, so we have the metrics, we have the logs. Do you want to go with the traces? Because it's an alias. Nothing fancy over there. So, but long story short, that's how you can monitor your Keycloak. So, any questions? Yes.
Just 2 comments, more or less. The one thing is, I think everyone here is using HashiCorp Vault, and you as well. I have to do a small promotion because I'm contributing to OpenBio, which is the open source fork of HashiCorp Vault, which is maintained by the Linux Foundation and actively developed and maintained, and also has some features which are only in Vault Enterprise, like namespaces. And the other thing is just a small comment. I had the impression, if I look at the audience here, you have a lot of content here.
Okay.
Like for a meetup, it is nice what you've done, but it maybe next time, if you do something a bit slower and doing like an overview, like a chart where you show like the architecture and how the things are connected and some so okay, now we're here, now we're doing this this part I have just shown, because I think some people are I think we're already losing the concentration. It's just a
No,
productive
valid
comment.
point. I
Okay,
totally
thank
get your
you.
point. Maybe because the agenda of the talk was only monitoring Keycloak, but I clubbed everything with the Keycloak, like a Grafana and everything. Let's say if I have a very vanilla setup, like a Helm chart run Grafana, okay, whatever the command is, and then it works. But but the real life is totally different from demo life, I would say. So I just wanted to show you that how different these things are connected together, and how in that way you can. Yes, it would have been very overwhelming for someone who is not very much familiar with all the tools and the things which we have. But I think if you're using Keycloak in a Kubernetes, then obviously you must be monitoring something in similar pattern. But yes, you have valid point. It's complex even for me also sometimes. That's why I forgot, okay, which alias I have set for that thing. But thanks. Any other questions?
Any more questions?
I know it's very complex, so no one will ask.
It's very nice to see this where in live.
Thank you.
This show, yeah. Normally you only see some videos from live demo.
This was a real one.
Things do fail, and it was like the earlier question with respect to suggestions. Yes, I totally get that. Maybe I have only one thing to say, because so many things are there, so many tools and technologies because you want to monitor Keycloak, then you need to have a Grafana stack. To Grafana stack, you need to have certain things. And yes, I can do admin 123, admin 123 for a Grafana dash. That would have made things very simple and easy to correlate, I would say.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, is this Grafana dashboard made by you, or is it some community provided?
Community provider.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Everything is on Grafana dashboard. I just tried a bunch of dashboards. Which one suited to the actual use case, I will just pick that one. Otherwise, if you go on Grafana dashboards, there are a bunch of dashboards for SPI metrics. What's that? Then you need to try. Sorry. Yeah, these kind of here you have to try which dashboards are relevant, because there are 7 to 8 dashboards. Not every dashboard is doing or pulling the correct metrics. Okay. The SPI metric which I use, that is from Keycloak extensions. This one. So nothing fancy over there. So you can just go there and get this one. Any other questions?
Just a very basic question about the setup. The only thing that I could not quite follow or understand is whether or not Istio was a requirement because you're using a kind cluster, or whether or not it was just a ease of life sort of thing you installed because you didn't want to do all the networking by hand. Not that you did anything by hand, basically, but
no,
just go into that.
Istio is like, I just want to expose my service over some endpoint.
Yep.
Otherwise, we can use Nginx Ingress or Kubernetes native API gateway, I would say. I was using Nginx Ingress previously, but it is not being maintained now. It is end of life also, I would say. So I thought, okay, maybe why not Istio, and then I can put some rate limiting on top of that, just in case if I want to make my life more miserable. So that way, yeah. But otherwise, different tools and you can do whatever.
All right, thanks.
Any other questions?